You know why modern fighter jets do not deliberately pursue high altitude and high speed as much as before. Once upon a time, craft like the American F-104 and the Soviet MiG-25 were typical representatives of high-altitude and high-speed fighter jets and were extremely glamorous at that time. In the past perception, it seemed that as long as the aircraft flew high and fast, it could gain an advantage in combat, which also became a hard requirement for victory at that time. However, with the change of the times, the situation today is completely different. If you pay attention to the Russia-Ukraine war, as of May, Russia has already had about 400 fighter jets shot down by air defense missiles. And you will find that all aircraft are shot down at high altitudes. Also, as far as I know, when Russia launched the war, it used armed helicopters to make a low-altitude breakthrough at a height of only about 10 meters. So the design focus of modern aircraft has shifted to advanced radar stealth performance and low-altitude high maneuverability. This is mainly because the current air defense technology is already quite mature, and there will also be a non-escape zone within a certain distance. This is also why the super burning pictures of aircraft avoiding missiles in movies are often in low-altitude mountain valleys, using the geography to avoid missiles. After all, movies and TV often come from life. Today's advanced air defense missiles such as the Patriot missile have a length of 5.31 meters, a diameter of 0.41 meters, and a maximum flight speed of about 5 Mach. This speed can already outrun all fighter jets. And the missile does not need to consider the overload problem and can turn at will. Once a fighter is discovered at high altitude, it is simply a living target, of course. China also has excellent air defense missiles, such as the Sea Red Flag 7 air defense missile. I believe many people know its name, but not its subdivision. The Sea Red Flag, as the name suggests, is the shipborne version of the Red Flag. Since its commissioning in 1988, after several improvements, it has been able to achieve a hit rate of up to 97%. Also, when the missile accelerates at the end stage, it often needs to fly close to the ground or skim the sea. This is because in this way, it can use the curvature of the earth and the sea clutter for cover, reduce the risk of being detected and intercepted, and increase the penetration effect. Flying close to the ground or skimming the sea can also reduce the air resistance and increase the missile speed at the end stage acceleration stage, and at the same time can also enhance the maneuverability of the missile in the low altitude environment, as can be seen from the development trajectory of the U.S. Air Force. At first, it favored high-altitude and high-speed fighter jets like the F-104, but soon realized its limitations and then vigorously developed fighter jets like the F-35, with strong stealth ability and low-altitude high maneuverability. The same is true for bombers. From the early persistent pursuit of high speed to the current emphasis on stealth and multi-mission capabilities, the speed has gradually decreased. Why is this again? On June 7, 1981, Israel launched an airstrike with the code name Operation Babylon and completely destroyed Iraq's Osirak nuclear reactor. This operation is considered a successful sneak attack and has dealt a major blow to Iraq's nuclear program. And in this operation, all the aircraft flew close to the ground throughout the whole process until the attack was successful, and Iraq's radar did not detect it. This is because the radar is mainly oriented towards high altitude, and there are various interferences near the ground surface. If Israel adopted a high altitude and high speed strategy, I estimate that it would have been discovered as soon as it took off. And what awaited would be a dragon's pond and a tiger's den. Today's air combat has already entered the information age. Through the war deduction of Chinese scientists, those scenes that once relied on high altitude and high speed pursuit have already gone forever. It can be seen from the fact that the J-20 does not install a cannon. Now the strongest points of fighter jets are high maneuverability, high stealth, and detecting and destroying the enemy first. The reason why small drones can shine brightly on the battlefield is also because of its low altitude and high stealth. The stealth is because it is too low and too small, and it is difficult for the radar to detect. Therefore, there is no need to overly yearn for those once glorious high-altitude and high-speed aircraft, such as the Russian Tu-160, etc. Their era has passed, and the new aviation era has completely different development directions and requirements.